Scary back here again with another great show. Remember to press the like button and the subscribe button so you'll be notified when I come out with a great new episode. So let's get to the latest UFC news. Was it Fight Night Till versus Whitaker? The last of the four fights on Yas Island. And there was a lot of hoopla around Fight Island, but there were some pretty good cards. Me personally, I still prefer the Apex Center, the UFC Institute, because it's a 5 foot smaller cage, and it causes initiation of action that. It's still, people aren't necessarily trying to avoid action, but it's still, I don't know. It's that 5 feet makes a difference. But let's get to this new the UFC Till Whitaker. And I'm gonna do a post-fight breakdown of the whole entire card. So the first fight of the evening was Nathaniel Wood against John Castaneda at bantamweight, and Nathaniel looked pretty good standing and on the ground. Just an all-around great exhibition from Nathaniel. He mixed it up on the feet. Nice boxing, nice kickboxing. He was pretty fluid. And then what do you have? Here, I guess he only one takedown, but he had the better control. But he had a lot of leg kicks, and it was a nice all around win for Nathaniel Wood. Our next fight of the evening was Ramazan Emeev against Nicholas Stoles at welterweight. And this wasn't nothing too much to write home about. It was a nice workmanlike affair. The unanimous decision for Ramazan Emeev. He got in there and did what he had to do. He dominated on the stand up and the ground. A lot of grappling heavy. Was he 4-12 on takedowns? So he gets the win. So in the UFC, you can't really take anything away from him with that. Our next fight of the evening was Betch Correa against Penny Khamzat at bantamweight, and Khamzat was just all around better on the feet, and she just kept lighting Betch up, and Betch kept going for the takedown. Usually you don't see her having to resort to takedown. And Khamzat just was all around better with it. She had the nice win. Our next fight of the evening was at heavyweight, Tanner Boser against Rafael Pessoa. And Boser, he's looked pretty good as his last two affairs. This was a nice knockout in the second round. I like at heavyweight, he's nice and light on his feet. He's able to got decent takedown defense, and it's just it doesn't look like he'd be the best, but he's definitely looked decent the couple of times I've seen him in the UFC. Even the loss, I'd seen him. He looked decent. So I'm curious to see where he goes in his career. We'll see the next step up in competition they give him. Our next fight of the evening was Movsar Evloev against Mike Grundy at featherweight. And Evloev was just landed more shots than Grundy even threw. Grundy did everything he could to get the fight to the ground as much as he could, but it wasn't enough. Evloev just completely dominated, and nice win for Evloev. Our next fight of the evening was another heavyweight fight, Tom Aspinall against Jake Collier, and Aspinall just came out and just blasted him out in 45 seconds, threw 10 shots and landed all 10. So it was a nice win for Aspinall. Our next fight of the evening was at welterweight, Nicholas Dalby against Jesseronson. And they were going back and forth, and then Ronson landed a nice shot and dropped Dalby, was able to get to his back, and and forced the tap. So a nice win for Jesseronson. Our next fight of the evening was Francisco Trinaldo and versus JHerbert at lightweight. And there was some controversy about this. The fight went back and forth. They both had their better looking moments. I mean, Trinaldo was winning. He probably was I think Herbert probably had the crisper. He probably had a little bit more of work rate and a little bit crisper striking, but Trinaldo just hit his punches. They had more effect, and he also was able to do more work on the ground. But so he landed a shot, dropped Herbert, and it looked like the fight was over. Trinaldo even like held up, but Herb Dean did not call off the fight, and so it made Trinaldo have to throw some more shots. And it was just, the fight was over. There was no need. Like, in those situations, it's like it's like you're just thirsting for blood at that point. You could see the fight was out of him. He wasn't defending intelligently. He was just laying there. So, what do you need to see him knocked unconscious at that point? And Dan Hardy, actually, who was commentating that night, UFC veteran, had a lot to say to Herb Dean. Herb Dean felt he was in the right, and it is what it is. You really only talk about refs when they're making bad calls. So our next fight of the evening was Khamzat Chimaev against Reese McKee at welterweight. And Chimaev, this was his second fight in 10 days. His last fight, his opponent only landed 2 punches on him. In this fight, he somehow did an even better job than that. He was able to take the fight down without his opponent landing any shots on him, and then just completely dominated on the ground. Was able to get the TKO minute 51 into the fight. So it was another nice showing. He has been completely dominating. Got a very similar style to Khabib, wrestling, very grapple heavy style. When he gets him he is just pounding these guys out. Definitely want to see where he goes. At the top of the heap is wrestlers, so we'll see. We'll see. He's looking good. Our next fight of the evening, also at welterweight, Alex Oliveira against Peter Sabato, and this was your regular Alex Cowboy Oliveira fight. He was always has a nice work rate, always aggressive. He used his reach, he used his length, and nice with the kicks. He was not a lot of nice leg kicks, and was just able to do more damage, and just a dominating win. Our next fight of the evening was a light heavyweight Paul Craig against Gazmarad Antagulov. And Antagulov was looking decent on the feet, then was able to get the fight to the ground, and but then fell right into a triangle choke by Paul Craig. And I gotta say, he didn't defend well. He waited too long. He played in the triangle, and Craig was able to clamp it down and force a submission. So nice win for Paul Craig. Our next fight of the evening was Carla Esparza against Marina Rodriguez at strawweight. And it was a nice back and forth affair. It was definitely your typical grappler versus striker match. Rodriguez was looking pretty good on the feet, but Carla Esparza looked good when she was able to get the fight to the ground. And it actually went to a split decision, and two of the judges sided with Esparza. So a decent win for Esparza. Our next fight of the evening, at heavyweight, Farisio Verdum and Alexander Gustafsson's debut as a heavyweight. And Gustafsson, when you just saw him, what he looked like, I don't know. probably, I mean, just body size. I mean, I think he's probably more at a better heavyweight. I mean, or a better fit for light heavyweight, unless he wants to decides to turn. I mean, the extra weight looks like he just put it on in gut. Like it. I mean, it didn't necessarily look like it was muscle. I mean, you don't have to make it all muscle, but I don't know. It's just effective weight, and what is even? I mean, I don't know. But he looked good at the beginning, but then Verdum was able to get the fight to the ground, and I kind of felt like that Gustafsson was playing around too much, and that I mean he needed to defend immediately, because I mean this is Verdum on the ground. I mean, who's tapped out all the greatest of all time, and he didn't. So Verdum was able to finish the fight with the armbar. So nice win for Farisio Verdum. Our next fight in our co-main event of the evening was a light heavyweight, and it was Mauricio Shogun Hua against Rogerio Negara. And this is, I think, the third time they fought, and like all the other ones, it's always a barn burner. I mean, they both, from the Pride days, have just got exciting styles, and I mean, they both went at it, and I mean, it's I kind of feel like maybe there was a takedown, because it was a split decision. Might have been a takedown in there that Shogun was able to get that might have given him the fight. So nice win for Shogun. And the main event of the evening was Robert Whittaker against Darren Till. And I kind of went the way I expected it to go. Robert Whittaker is just a better MMA fighter right now. Darren Till needs to he needs to add more elements to his game. I mean, at his size, he should be throwing more kicks. And I mean, it would be effective if he had more grappling. I mean, he needs to at least be able to threaten with some takedowns and threaten with some grappling. And instead, he's just predominantly a boxer. So, I mean, Whittaker kind of took him to school a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a domination. I mean, it was 3 scores of 48-47, but I don't know. I mean, it was never in question, really, the fight. Robert Whittaker did what he does, and it went kind of how I thought it would, and Whittaker was able to pull out the win. Another nice event from Yaz Island. And what's this weekend coming up is Derek Brunson against Edmund Shabazian. So that should be a decent fight. Look forward to that. What else has happened? Baseball finally got started again. Not even the biggest baseball fan, but I started collecting baseball cards again. So kind of just keeping up with it and everything again. I used to when I was younger. And it's also with this, during this coronavirus, it's nice to see some things, some live sports of something. I was watching rugby the other day. But I mean, I just don't know. I don't know that they're going to be able to. I mean, it's a shortened season, 60 games. But I don't know. Without being, I think the NBA has a better game plan with the bubble. It's going to be rough. I mean, they already have the Marlins already had, I think, 15 or 16 players test positive, and so they had a bunch of games suspended, and then that caused several other teams to have games suspended. So just not feeling optimistic about them being able to finish the season. And then when it comes to the NBA, I mean, I mean, they have a better game plan, but then you still have guys already sneaking out and breaking rules, and it's just going to be, it's one of those things. I don't know. And you're already having the NFL, a bunch of guys are already opting out. So who knows? I mean, MMA, the UFC might be all we really have for the rest of the year that we know we're going to get. I mean, because that's the UFC, they seem to know how to put on. I mean, also because whenever you're talking about one-on-one fighters, I mean, the most you really have to deal with is the fighters and their team. I mean, so it's just an easier, the logistics behind putting together a UFC event compared to any other sport, but maybe theoretically, I guess tennis would be another sport that could be done. I mean, in this climate, I guess golf also. But yeah, so So yeah, but we'll see what happens. I think the NBA starts tomorrow, so I mean, definitely looking forward to that. There should be, I think there's 8 more games left in the season, and then they start the playoffs. So there's going to be some excitement, and I will do all kinds of breakdowns and everything for all that. So you can remember to find me on YouTube at Trauma Television, because this is Trauma Television production, on Facebook at Trauma Television, on Facebook at Big Scary, and on Twitter at Big Scary. And as Martin Luther King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.